welcome back to the Authors ATM. This is a video series on 20 plus income streams for non-fictional authors. So in this video, we're going to be talking about individual sales. So before we spoke about pre-publishing income streams, and so now that you're published, we're going to be talking about the individual sales that you can get from your book. So here are the individual sales we're going to cover in this video. 1, royalties. We're also going to be talking about website sales, bookstore sales, gift boxes, as well as vendor opportunities. So let's start with royalties. Royalties is going to be that income that you earn after publishing costs are actually deducted. So this will vary between various different publishing company or your platform. Your royalties will represent that income that you earn as an author following the cost that is deducted for publishing. And so, for example, if you were to publish an ebook with KDP, your royalty structure or percentage that you will get for each sale will be different from your print book. Will be different if the book is sold through their expanded distribution. Also, if you're using a publishing company, that royalty is also going to be different. So your royalties represent anything that you receive as an income from the sales of individual books after all publishing costs are deducted. It is generally a lower individual stream on each book, just because, of course, you have to pay your publishing company. There's a printing cost that have to be deducted. If you're in an expanded distribution channel, then various different individuals have to get paid before you get paid, right? But publishing means expanded distribution. Being with a publishing company, whether it is KDP or you hire a publishing company, means that your book is going to have the type of distribution that's going to get you further than your locality or your own reach in your as an individual author, right? So although you're going to have to split your income with other individuals and entity, you have now the opportunity for expanded distribution. And in the case of publishing platforms such as IngramSpark and KDP, you are going to get expanded distribution to the entire world. And so that will somehow buffer the fact that this actual stream of income is a lower stream of income compared to some other individual streams. Okay, so let's talk about website sales. Website sales represent the income that you will get from selling your book on your own website or from a landing page. In this case, you are the publisher for your book, and you're the ones that's actually selling it from your website. Now your individual income is going to be higher because the only cost to you that you're going to actually pay out when it comes onto your book is the printing of it. So even if you were to publish with KDP or IngramSpark, as an author, you can purchase your author's copies. And your author's copies are going to actually be just printed costs, okay? You're going to get them at printing costs, which therefore means that the amount that you charge for that book and sell that book for, all that income is going to come back to you. So you don't have to pay a publisher. You don't have to pay this middleman who might be a wholesaler. The individual income is going to be higher compared to royalties. However, you have to maintain this platform. So you have to maintain your website or your landing page, right? You would have had to create that platform. And also with this stream of income, you have to process all the transactions, okay? So you have to package all the books and send out all the books, right? If there's any issue with customer service and returns or non-delivery, you have to manage that entire process, compared to if the book is purchased on a KDP, from KDP or on Amazon, then they're the ones that handle all that processing. But with website sales, you're the one that's going to process all transaction. There is an upfront cost, and that upfront cost includes you having to purchase the books in advance. So you're going to have to stock your book in order to process your own website sales. Bookstore sales. Now, bookstore sales, as it indicates, is income that you generate from selling books in a bookstore, right? It is harder to achieve over online sales. And this is something that a lot of non-fictional authors struggle with because there's so many authors out there, so many books out there. How do you get into bookstores to begin with, right? So that can be very difficult. And so it is harder to achieve these sales just by virtue of the fact that you may not be able to get into a bookstore. A lot of bookstores have a whole lot of requirements and policy as it relates to whether or not they will stock a specific book, right? However, if you happen to get into a bookstore and you are receiving bookstore sales, sometimes the sales can be based on a consignment agreement, which simply means that you give them your book, a certain number of your book, and you get paid when the book is actually sold, okay? Now, local stores are your best options because, of course, they will have a category for local authors. And so on that level, you're going to be able to get into their bookstores and sell books, as well as readers who come in might feel an obligation to support their local authors as well. The income will vary depending on the arrangement. So we spoke about the consignment arrangement, but there's also another arrangement that you can make. If your book is in an expanded distribution with KDP, for example, or IngramSpark, for example, that bookstore can purchase through their wholesalers straight from KDP or straight from IngramSpark. In that case, you will see income upfront from your platform on either of these publishing platforms, as opposed to having to wait in a consignment agreement. And so the income will vary. In a consignment agreement, you might end up with more income for each individual sale because, of course, you're the one providing the book and you don't have to go through a middle person, and so the net result would be higher for you. But it means that you're getting your payment later, not upfront, as opposed to if they do it through the expanded distribution channel and purchase from their wholesaler, you get your money upfront, but you're going to get less because that wholesaler has to get paid, your publisher has to get paid, and so your net income is going to be less. Let's talk a little bit about gift boxes. Now, this is a really exciting stream of income for authors, and it is something that not a lot of authors contemplate, but it's a great way to twin other products with your books. If you have multiple books, it's a great way to twin those books. If you have a journal and a book, or a planner and your book, great way to twin that. Also, you can twin it with candles and pens and other types of products that you can add to create a gift box that is centered around your book. It is the ability to give readers more than just a book, and your book is more than just a book. It is a book that is going to impact their life in some way. And so if it's a book that's impacting their financial life, there are things you can put in that gift box that will complement that book. If it's something about their spirituality, if it's something about their mindset, if it's something about entrepreneurship, there are various different things that you can put in that gift box to create a situation in which readers will get more than just the book. Now, places your book in a wider product category. When you have a gift box, your book now becomes more than just the book. As not only will this be something that you can put in a book category, in fact, if you were to go to a store, or even another website, for example, you're now going to be able to put your book in a category, a different category, because it's now packaged in a gift box. And so that allows you and to have a wider product category. It now expands to a new buying audience. So before, you were focused on your reading audience. Now with a gift box, you have a buying audience, which may be different from your reading audience, because as a gift box, you are now going to have people who are going to purchase this gift box for somebody in your reading audience. So for example, if I do a gift box that contain my book and my journal for parents of autistic kids, before, only parents of autistic kids would have purchased my book and purchased my journal. But now that I've presented in a gift box, family, friends, and others who know parents of autistic kids may determine that this is a great gift that they could give to them through Autism Awareness Month, or for Christmas, or for Mother's Day, depending on what that gift box entail, right? So now you're able as an author to expand to a new buying audience. You now have the capacity to put a higher ticket price for your gift boxes. And I recommend to authors that you be very careful with the cost you incur for each item inside the gift box. However, you're going to earn more income because now you are able to price up and above that of the book that you had before. So you're able to put a higher ticket on this gift box, and by extension, you also earn more income. However, just like your website sale, there is an upfront cost because, of course, you have to get the gift boxes, you have to get the items to put in the gift boxes, you have to stock your own books as well so you can package those gift boxes as you get these orders. And then, of course, these orders are going to have to be processed on your website. If you do have a third-party platform that's able to sell your gift boxes and they will do the processing, then great. But generally speaking, you're still going to have that upfront cost of having to put those boxes together. So let's talk a little bit about vendor opportunity as another stream of income. It's a great way to market to your offline audience. And vendor opportunities is basically you being a vendor at a specific event. There are tons and tons and tons of local opportunities available to you. There are tons and tons of international and national opportunities available to you. I generally recommend for authors to start in their locality and get a feel for the various different vendor opportunities and what's entailed in doing vending as an author. There are book fairs, there are events, there are conferences, there are seminars, there are meetups. There are various different events that you can go to, and each of them will have, in most cases, vending opportunities where they allow vendors of products and services to come in and offer their products or services to the attendees. And essentially what you'll be doing is to actually rent a table or rent a tent, as the case might be, in order to display your books as an author. Now, this income stream, like selling from, it's like selling from your website. So essentially, you have to actually supply the books and process that payment right there at the event itself, right? So you're going to have a payment processing software on your phone or on your computer or tablet while you're there, and you're going to have to process that entire transaction. If people have complaints or returns, you're still going to have to deal with that. So this income stream is just like selling from your website essentially, but there is no shipping costs, okay? Because the person is there, they can take the book right then and there, and they go, right? And there is a cost to you as a vendor, of course. Not only do you have to have your books in stock, and you're going to have a larger volume of books in stock depending on the projected audience that is going to be at the event. But you're also going to have the cost of renting that table as a vendor. You're also going to have the cost of marketing material, because you're going to have to get a tablecloth, you may have to get a tent if it's an outside event, you may have to get a standing banner, various different things you're going to have to get to dress up your area as a vendor. So there is a cost to you, and there is the cost of time. So on your website, most things will be automated. You would package those books and send them out. But in a vending situation, you're going to be at this event. There's time that you have to invest in preparing for the event, and there's time you have to invest in actually being at the event. So there is the cost associated with getting the items ready for the vending opportunity, but there's also the cost of time. So here are some things you need to consider when it comes down to individual sales, whether your goal is to make more money. Okay, and you might say, well, why isn't my goal to make more money, right? Well, here's the thing, right? If your goal is to make more money, as opposed to whether your goal is for more exposure, it will determine the type of individual sales that you will take. So when you're focused more on exposure than you are on your income, then you go with sales that are through a publishing company. You go with sales that are based on expanded distribution, right? Because you want to ensure that type of exposure, and you might want to try to get in as much bookstores as possible. But if it is that you're more concerned about income aspect of it, then you may very well focus on more on income streams that are concerned with your own website or vending opportunities, because the income to you is higher. Now, you also have to consider the time you have to devote to any particular income stream, because that's going to be different. You know, if it is that you are allowing your publisher to do all the processing, then not a lot of time you have to devote. But if you're doing vending opportunities on website and so forth, you have to consider the fact that there's some time you have to devote to that income stream. And whether it's right for your target audience, that's really important. Are gift box right for your target audience? Is your target audience at various different events and so forth? You have to always measure what your target audience will need when you're thinking about any stream of income. And then you also have to consider your ability to invest in upfront costs. And we spoke about the various upfront costs for each stream. So are you going to be able to invest in that? Okay, so this has been the author's ATM, a video series on 20+ income streams for non-fictional authors.